I'm going to tell you something the newspapers never printed. 7 men walked into a garage on Valentine's Day. None of them walked out. The man who ordered it? He was 300 miles away in a Miami penthouse, eating breakfast. How do you catch a ghost who owns the police? I've been a detective for 22 years. I've looked evil in the eye more times than I can count. But this case? This one started in Brooklyn, January 17th, 1899. The same date, 21 years later, Prohibition would begin. Make of that what you will. Alphonse Gabriel Capone, son of Gabriele and Teresina, a barber and a seamstress from Naples. They came to America with nothing but their hands and their hope. The boy was brilliant. His teacher said so. Quick mind, natural leader, could have been a doctor, an engineer, a senator. At 14, a teacher hit him. He hit back and never returned to school. That single moment cost America more than it will ever know. He fell in with Johnny Torrio's crew. Torrio saw something in the kid, discipline inside the violence, a calculator behind the fists. 1917, the Harvard Inn, Coney Island. Capone insulted a woman at the bar. Her brother, Francis Galluccio, disagreed, with a knife. 3 cuts, left cheek, the scars that would make him famous. The scars he spent his entire life trying to hide. Scarface. He hated that name more than anything in the world. In every photograph, he turned his right side to the camera, every single time. He married May Coughlin that year, had a son, Sonny. And here's what haunts me, even now. For a moment, I believe he could have been saved. What goes wrong in a man? What's the moment he chooses the dark? Torrio called him to Chicago. The Volstead Act had just made alcohol illegal. And in banning it, the government had created the most profitable criminal enterprise in human history. By 1925, Capone was 26 years old, and he ran Chicago. Jazz spilling into rain-slicked streets, luxury cars, women in silk, men with guns. I remember the first time I saw him in person, outside the Four Deuces. 2222 South Wabash. Silk suit, diamond pinky ring, surrounded by men who looked like they could break a lamppost with their hands. But his eyes, empty, like looking into a lake in February. You know there's something alive underneath the ice. You just pray it never breaks through. His operation was unlike anything the city had ever seen. Not a gang, a corporation. 725 speakeasies, distilleries, gambling houses, brothels, protection rackets. $100 million a year. That's over $1.7 billion in today's money. And the most terrifying part? Half my precinct was on his payroll. He was genius enough to understand something his rivals never did. You don't just buy criminals, you buy the city. Judges, aldermen, police captains, congressmen. And then you open a soup kitchen. During the Depression, he opened the first soup kitchen in Chicago, fed thousands. The people called him Robin Hood. The newspapers printed his photograph on the front page like a celebrity. I called him something else. November 1924. Dion O'Banion made the fatal mistake of humiliating Johnny Torrio. He sold Torrio a brewery, then tipped off the police. Dion O'Banion was not what you'd expect. He owned a flower shop on North State Street, arranged bouquets by day, ran the North Side by night. O'Banion controlled the most profitable territory on the North Side: breweries, speakeasies, gambling. Torrio wanted peace between the gangs. O'Banion didn't believe in peace. Then O'Banion made the mistake that would cost him everything. He sold Torrio a half share in the Sebin Brewery for $500,000. Then, the same night, he tipped off the police. Torrio was arrested, humiliated, in public. O'Banion laughed about it afterward, openly. He called Torrio's people names I won't repeat. In this business, humiliation is a death sentence. 3 men walked into O'Banion's flower shop. They shook his hand, and while his hands were occupied, they shot him 6 times, 3 in the head. They sent flowers to his funeral. That was Capone's style. The murder triggered a war. The Northsiders tried to kill Torrio, shot him 5 times outside his own apartment. Torrio survived, but he'd seen enough. He handed everything to Capone and fled to Italy, 26 years old, and Alphonse Capone became the undisputed king of Chicago. I need to tell you about February 14th, 1929, because it changed everything, for Capone, for Chicago, and for me. Bugs Moran and his North Side gang were expecting a delivery of hijacked Canadian whiskey. What arrived was different. 7 men inside. An ordinary morning. An ordinary garage. Ordinary men. What arrived was different. A Cadillac, disguised to look like a police car. 4 men got out. They wore police uniforms, made the men inside believe it was a routine raid. Face the wall, hands up. Nobody questioned a police order. Then 2 Thompson submachine guns opened fire. "70 bullets, 90 seconds. I counted the bullet holes in that wall myself. God in heaven. One man was still breathing, Frank Gusenberg, 14 bullet wounds. I knelt beside him. Frank, who did this? Nobody shot me. He died 20 minutes later. The code of the street. They'd rather die on the floor of a garage than give a name to a cop. Of course, Capone was in Florida. He was always in Florida. Perfect alibi, as always. But something had shifted. The massacre was so brazen, so brutal, that it crossed a line even Americans who loved good old Al couldn't ignore. President Hoover himself made it personal. He called his cabinet together and said 4 words: "Get Capone for me." We couldn't get him for murder. Too many witnesses had a habit of dying before they could testify. But Frank Wilson, IRS special agent, noticed something. Capone lived like a pharaoh. Palm Island mansion, custom Cadillacs, tailored suits made from the finest Italian silk. But according to the United States government, he had no income. Not 1 tax return, not $1 declared, not 1 cent. The most powerful criminal in American history, brought down by a pencil and a ledger. Elliot Ness was 26 years old when he took the case. A Prohibition agent, smart, ambitious, and he understood one thing Capone had never faced before: an agent who could not be bribed. He handpicked 9 agents, checked every one personally. The criteria was simple: no debts, no gambling, no family pressure. Nobody Capone could reach. He called them the untouchables. Ness hit the breweries, 14 raids in the first year. Capone lost $2 million in revenue. The headlines loved it. But Ness knew, and I knew, that raids alone would never put Capone in prison. 2 men, 2 weapons. Ness squeezed Capone from the outside, visible, loud, in every newspaper. Wilson worked from the inside, invisible, silent, through 6 million pages of financial records. Capone never saw Wilson coming. But the real kill shot came from the accountants. June 5th, 1931. Grand jury handed down 22 counts of tax evasion. Capone was confident. He'd beaten every charge before. His lawyers tried to negotiate a deal. Judge Wilkerson looked at them and said, The court will be bound by no agreement made by counsel. The deal was dead. I sat in the front row every single day of that trial. I wanted him to see my face every single day. The jury returning, the courtroom holding its breath. We find the defendant guilty. Guilty on 5 counts. 11 years, federal prison, $50,000 in fines. The King of Chicago, sentenced by arithmetic. August 22, 1934. Alphonse Capone arrived at Alcatraz, inmate number 85. No special treatment, no bribes, no power, just a number in a cell. He'd had syphilis since his youth, never treated it properly. By 1938, the disease had reached his brain. The mind that built a $100 million empire was dissolving. He was released in 1939, 40 years old, mentally a child. He spent his final years at his Palm Island estate in Miami, fishing, wandering the gardens, sometimes believing he was still running Chicago, a ghost haunting his own life. January 25, 1947, cardiac arrest. Alphonse Capone, age 48, pronounced dead. Survived by his wife May and his son Sonny. People ask if I'm glad I got him. I think about the Valentine's Day Massacre, the 100+ murders tied to his organization, the families broken, the lives that ended in alleys I had to walk through with a flashlight and a notepad. And then I think about how he ended, drooling in a garden in Miami, afraid of men who weren't there. Was it justice? I honestly don't know anymore. What I know is this: evil is not invincible. It feels that way, it looks that way. It owns the police and the judges and the newspapers, but it carries within it the thing that destroys it: pride, greed, the belief that the rules were written for other men.
What I know is this: evil carries within it the thing that destroys it.
Chicago lived on.